So Lazarus was one of the most anticipated shows of the season, right? We can all agree on that, alongside Fire Force Season 3, My Hero Academia Season, whatever it's on now, and my personal hype for the season, the Gorilla God anime. Is it going to be a 7, an 8, maybe even a 9, maybe? Or what's it going to be? What's it going to be? For the uninformed, Lazarus takes place in the year 2052, where mankind has been freed from sickness and pain. No, that doesn't mean this doesn't exist anymore, because let's be real, probably living forever, but actually this guy called Dr. Skinner has developed a miracle drug to negate the two. So why was Lazarus so hyped up? Well, it's because of this dapper looking fella right here. If you don't recognize those stylish shades, this is Shinichiro Watanabe, the creative genius behind shows like Cowboy Bebop's flamboyant cousin Space Dandy, and Terror in Tokyo, to name a few. So when this guy's mugshot is rolled out onto the red carpet, needless to say, weeps across the world become a bit feral, and who can blame them? The man clearly knows what he's doing by this point. He puts out banger after banger. And then to top it all off, they somehow got Chad Stahelski, the director of John Wick, to choreograph and direct some of the fight scenes. So in a world where these two team up, well, what could possibly go wrong, right? Well, that's when the reviews started rolling in, and they had different ratings to what our anticipations were originally. So this is IGN's review of Lazarus, and they infamously gave it a 5 out of 10, marking it as mediocre with cold visuals, clunky dialogue, and uneven action sequences. Now, do I listen to IGN? Typically not. But when it comes to their page and they have a poll on it that asks what's the most underrated anime of all time, and it has Haruhi Suzumiya on it, makes me value their opinion just that little bit less. But it weren't just IGN that were firing shots. Game Radar Plus also marked Lazarus slightly higher with a 3 out of 5, so a 6 out of 10. But they stated it had distracting CGI, swift action that lacks clarity, and a bland English dub. Now, obviously that last point is dependent on the language that you watch the show in, but there seems to be a bit of a theme going on here, with Lazarus being marked as average or mediocre. So what's the difference between these human migraines cosplaying as journalists and us, the average viewer? Well, they got access to 5 episodes before anyone else, whereas at the time of recording this video, we only have access to 2. You'll have to excuse my demeanor, by the way. This is only my 2nd video on the channel, so compared to the other pundits on this platform, I might be a little bit lowbrow until YouTube comes knocking at my door. Speaking of lowbrow, let's head to Reddit. Now, this is the IGN review of Lazarus posted to Reddit, so let's see if these savvy Redditors have the same views that IGN and Game Radar Plus had. IGN is a review website. I'm not taking anything they say seriously. Can't spell ignorant without IGN. I'm not trusting their review. This is good news. If the first 5 episodes are a 5 out of 10, then surely the next 5 will add up to it being a 10 out of 10. Well, I scrolled a bit further and I was hit with a slur, so usually that's my cue to leave the premise. Regardless, it doesn't seem like Reddit is on the same side of the coin as IGN and Game Radar Plus, but there was one Redditor that was missing from that comment section. Me. So what did I think of it? I mean, that's the point of the video, right? I'm here to talk about Lazarus. Am I more on the side of these conglomerates talking about Lazarus as if it's average and mediocre? Or am I more akin to your average Redditor that's shining the shoes of anime Jesus? Well, to start off, the first episode doesn't piss us about and it gets straight to the chase. We're struck with these beautiful visuals detailing a backstory in quite a quick fashion. We're thrown into this dystopian-like future not too far away from us and introduced to our protagonist of Axel. Now, I don't want to compare Watanabe's previous works, but I do see a bit of Spike in Axel. Not visually per se, but his witty and charming attitude definitely treads the same line. We're introduced to a few other characters, but not in great detail, including what looks to be our previous human thumb of a Prime Minister, Theresa May. Clearly not all pain has been eradicated from this universe. I think what gripped me straight away was this opening sequence as we're introduced to the world that Axel is currently living in. I am a sucker for a slow, end-of-the-world-esque thematic music. So when Dark Will Fall, an original song for Lazarus, started playing as we're given a view of Axel's imprisonment, my brain was pogging. The plot they're laying out in Lazarus definitely has the same blueprint as to something that could happen in our world, literally as it is right now. I mean, without getting nuked by the algorithm, you could probably name a person or two that would rug pull a medicine or drug like this. It wraps this recipe for disaster in a package where, okay, maybe we wouldn't go recruiting criminals as if we're some kind of
Suicide Squad
to help track down this mysterious figure, but where more of the population could be under threat in under 30 days, we would resort to desperate measures. I think what I would like to see more as the season goes on is how the world reacts to this. Obviously, if you were told you only had 30 days to live, you would start doing things particularly crazy, right? I mean, I would actually start Naruto. I've been meaning to do that for years, but I haven't been insane enough to do it yet. But I think giving the notice that I would only have 30 days to live, maybe I would do something crazy like that. I think what the first few episodes of an anime should always do is not give too much away, but give enough that kind of has you itching for more. In my opinion, Lazarus does this exceptionally well, setting us up on this adventure as we follow Axel until their eventual confrontation with Dr. Skinner. I'm a big fan of anime where you get to see and explore the world these characters live in, which for me is what shows like Free Run did tremendously well. Lazarus gives us this great opportunity to do something similar during a prolonged parkour chase sequence where we get to see the world of Lazarus. All these high-tech drones flying around, fancy looking cars, but it still has those elements of the world we live in today, demonstrating to us that this world they're living in at the moment isn't actually too far away from our own. One thing that IGN did mention that I'm certainly curious about as well is how the group of individuals that we're presented with react to the news about the drug being rug pulled, and if some of them have 30 days to live. I mean, their reaction could become more raw as the days tick down until this eventual doomsday, but at the moment I think it's too early to judge that. For me, the blend of visuals, music and the characters we've been introduced to so far has been the perfect mix for me to be initially invested in a show's continuation. Do I think it's going to be the next Cowboy Bebop? No. Do I think that it could stand toe-to-toe with Cowboy Bebop by the time it's finished? Potentially so. It definitely has all those big brains behind it, and from what I've seen so far, I've been impressed. I have enjoyed it. I think what was bizarre to me is if IGN and Game Radar and all these other media publications are rating it as average, what happens in the 3 episodes from episode 2 to episode 5 that they could possibly mark it as average? Or maybe I'm just on the wrong side of the coin here, I would be very interested in what you guys have to think of it so far. Have you seen the 2 episodes? Will you be continuing it on to see it through? Please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video. As I said previously, this is only my 2nd video on this channel, so if you do want to subscribe or let me know in the comments how you thought, I'd very much appreciate that. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one.